Hi, I'm Kelly, and today I'm going to show you a simple, non-toxic way of cleaning Venetian blinds. Now, we moved into a new apartment 3 years ago, and this apartment is absolutely full of Venetian blinds. And 3 years later, I have discovered how filthy these Venetian blinds have become. I looked into many ways of how to clean them. I had a cleaner come in to do the apartment, that was a treat, and asked her if she'd be able to do them. Initially she said yes, and then I think she was appalled at how many there were and how filthy they'd become. So that didn't happen. So then I tried it myself, but found that especially the areas around the windows, when they were open, those areas have become extremely, extremely icky. And even running a cloth through, it just wasn't working. I then looked into services to come and clean them for me, and that was going to cost a fortune, at least more than I could afford, so that wasn't an option. And then I did my wonderful Google search and looked at all the different ways. One way that's talked about often on the Google sites is actually taking them down and putting them in a bathtub, which is great. A couple problems with that. There are so many here and they're quite wide, so they wouldn't even fit in the bathtub. And the thought of trying to get them all down, which would take at least a couple people, clean and then back up, was kind of overwhelming. So along the way I've tried to figure out how might I be able to get these blinds clean. So this is what I've ended up doing. There's a couple things you will need, but one specific thing for those very dirty areas. So let's see. Okay, so I'm using microfiber cloths. The ones that I picked up are Velita. They're not expensive at all. They come quite large. So what I've done is actually cut them into 4 pieces. So that is perfect, because when you're working with something like Venetian blinds, you don't want big bulky cloths. That makes it all the much harder to deal with. So I've cut them into 4. And then you need a bucket with some warm water. It doesn't even need to be hot water. And again, I don't have anything in there, but if you really wanted, you could put in some vinegar or a cleaner of your choice, although I have to say, again, it's not needed, and you're much better to just go non-toxic. These blinds end up beautifully clean at the end, which is great. And this was my little trick for the really grubby areas. I picked up a little Hot Shot steam cleaner, $19.99, so it wasn't a huge investment, and I figured if it worked, great. If it didn't, I'll utilize it in other areas, which I will do. These steam cleaners now are fantastic. This one's a little handheld one. You can use it to clean grout. You can use it to clean toilets in around on the tile, which is great. And I'm going to be using this to get the really grubby areas of the Venetian blinds clean. Okay, so let's get started. So I'm going to do this blind that's in our office slash spare bedroom, and as you can see, it's quite a large blind, top to bottom here, and very wide. When you're working with blinds, if you are right-handed, you want to work from left to right, because you'll be moving the dirt along that way, and you want to work from top to bottom. But for these purposes, I'm going to be taking a section of blind to show you what I do. And you might think that this is time-consuming, and it is to a degree, but I've actually been amazed that it hasn't taken nearly as long as I thought it might, and I've already managed to do all of the blinds in the living room, and one of our other blinds in simply a morning of doing work, so it hasn't been bad at all. Okay, so not all of your blinds is going to need to have the steam cleaner. In fact, probably most of it won't. And it's quite simple. All I'm doing is taking my microfiber cloth. This has been dipped in the water. I'll just do that again, wrung it out. And what you want to do, again, I'm just going to work in a small section here, is take your blind, sort of tilt it up, and you're doing the front and the back by doing this, so it's not a matter of having to flip the blind around, do one side and then the other. Just simply run your cloth from one side to the other, and then down. And right there, I don't know if you can see it, but it is full of dirt. And it actually doesn't take long. Just take a section of your blind, do one rung at a time, and you can work your way down really, really quickly. Now, what you want to do is switch your cloth around so that you're not running dirt on dirt. And then frequently, we'll do this after the next one, you just want to wring it out in your warm water and carry on down the blind. So, very simple, doesn't actually take long. Again, all I'm using is the water and the microfiber cloth. Okay, so now we're going to work on a section of the blind where it is really grimy and needs the steam cleaner. This is the part where the window is behind it, and we keep it open because the apartment gets quite hot. And just using a microfiber cloth really doesn't work. It just kind of, I guess the grime is so ground into the blind, it makes it really difficult, but the steam cleaner works like a hot darn. So again, you want to work in sections when you're doing this, really important, because the steam cleaner really lifts up the dirt very well, but then if you leave it too long and come back to it, it will have dried and very difficult to get off. So we're going to work in a little section. Again, you would go from top to bottom and left to right, and I'm just going to do this little section here and show you. So I have my steam cleaner, and it's been heated up according to the directions. This one takes about 4 minutes, not long at all. Very important when you're doing the blinds that you do not hold the nozzle directly onto the blind. You're just holding it back at about, I don't know, 1 to 2 inches or so, and you're steaming it. You're not pressing it against the blind. So I'll show you this little section here, very simple. So I'm holding it back, and I just do, I'm quite close to it, but again, I'm not on it. And I run this along, and I'm going to do this section, maybe 2 or 3 of them. Oh my goodness, it is so gross, you guys. Seeing what is coming off of this is just crazy. Okay, there we go. I put a towel down on the little futon here in case it sprays. So I don't know if you can see that, but there is lots of dirt that has come off of this. So now what I'm going to do is get my microfiber cloth. It is right behind me in my bucket. Wring it out, and tilt up my blind. And again, just run it from front to back. Sorry, left, right. And along. And that comes off now extremely easily. So another thing that's important is make sure that you change your water frequently. It's amazing how fast, I guess depending on how dirty your blinds are, but how fast the water will get dirty. And what I'm going to show you now, kind of gross, but it's after the portion of steam cleaning a section, doing a few of the rungs down, and now I'm going to change the water, and this is what we've got. So again, you can see how black that water is in the sink that I've just poured in, and that's after just a few rungs. So it really shows you how the dirt does get picked up though, using the steam cleaner and then your microfiber cloth. It gets it off beautifully. So hopefully you'll find this really helpful. There's some really big advantages to this. Again, taking down the blinds, putting them in a bathtub, for us that won't work because so many of these blinds are big. Plus I can't imagine the hassle of it. Very expensive to send blinds in, for us anyway, for the amount that we have. And I would say even for smaller blinds that could easily be taken down and put into a tub, by the time you've done that, you would be able to do it really, really quickly with just your microfiber cloth and your warm water, and if need be, your little steam cleaner. Remember to wring out your cloth frequently. Remember to change your water frequently. And you'll only need to use the steamer in the areas that are caked on. I'm certainly far from being housewife of the year, and I suppose if I clued in sooner, then I could have avoided a lot of this by regularly just giving a wipe down to the blinds. I've learned my lesson in that regard. But if you find yourself in this situation, you'll probably find that this works just fine, and you really don't need anything fancy to do it. All right, thanks so much for listening. Bye.